G'day Bomber fans, there has been some more injury news at Essendon since my last little update injury video. Some big, some small. We have players back at the club already doing some training, so I'm just going to go over a little update of what's happening at the club fitness-wise. Alrighty, so news a couple of weeks back that I'm going to touch on now. Shiel, I've already spoken of some post-season surgery involving Shiel this year. He had a knee operation a month or two back, but more recently has tried to overcome a niggly foot issue and has had surgery there as well. So 2 operations in the space of a couple of months. The knee is still the one that will keep him out for longer though. He should already be off crutches I think now, but the recent surgery shouldn't limit his pre-season on top of the last one. So he is currently just in rehab mode pretty much. So many saw the surgery news and were confused as to why it didn't happen earlier. Pretty much it didn't need to. He will be late to the party, but no more later than he would have been before. The foot won't limit his rehab as much as the knee will. On to Jake Stringer, who has started running at the hangar under the supervision of Sean Murphy, who is our head of strength and conditioning. Now, Stringer was obviously one of a few players to go under the knife at the conclusion of the 2023 season. He actually had surgery before the season ended on his foot. He has struggled with plantar fasciitis. He was in and out of the team, couldn't really get up and about at all after like round 7 or 8 from memory. He is hoping to be training fully come January, same time as Draper, who went under the knife around the end of the season as well. But the fact Stringer is moving around now, testing his legs to see how they feel, that's good. Even the fact he is at the club doing it, it's always good to see senior players thinking about footy before they really need to. There were some other players around the club at the same time, a little group of them. Channel 7 showed footage of a few younger players, Will Setterfield, Nick Martin, Sammy Durham, and Carl Langford, who many want on the leadership group after his big drive for higher standards at the club. He was there. But most importantly, Zach Reid was involved as well. He has obviously had big injury problems in recent years since being drafted. He's really struggled to get onto the park at all. It's obviously a big year for him and his development in 2024, so it's good to see him running around with the younger boys. It's not official training. The training doesn't start for another few weeks, mid-November for younger players, and the older guys at the club return late-ish into November. So we're hopefully going to see Reid and others moving about pretty well at that stage. Alright, now speaking of injury-prone players, we have some other news. Jaiden Hunter obviously came over as a mid-season draftee, played 2 games for us in the VFL, noticed some back pain, and scans showed it was a stress fracture, so he was ruled out for the year. We have given him another year in his contract though, and that is good news. He's going to be training with us soon as well, which is also good news. He has obviously signed the contract, had his little statement, and has said that his body is feeling great. It's in good nick, which is good. We hopefully see him starting to impress on the training track because he hasn't really had the opportunity to do so yet at all. So a 1-year contract, that is good news for the young key forward. Because it's going to be a short video, I may as well talk about some other things. Blake Caracella, our defensive coach of the last 3 years, I think, he has been announced as our new VFL head coach, which I think is fantastic. Caracella is a highly respected figure at the club, has been for years now, so he's hopefully going to build some relationships with those players on the fringe, develop the young guns to help guide them towards being first team members. And touching on that, we have a few more things as well. Xavier O'Neill from West Coast will join our VFL team. He was delisted but has signed with us for 2 years in the VFL. That should help our undersized reserves midfield that was frankly bullied at times. And also Matt Rosa, also speaking of West Coast, he's going to be taking over from Dodoro. He will apparently be heavily involved with Caracella and the reserves team, so there is a lot to like about how the department is shaping up. Speaking of the department, I may as well touch on the other additions because there has been more to our football department as a whole that have included in the last few days some more North Melbourne additions. We added Mackay, Goldstein, Brad Scott. Now we've nabbed their high performance manager Jonah Siegel. He is now part of our strength and conditioning program with Sean Murphy, who I talked of before. He was with North for quite a while, helping players with rehabs and diets and whatnot. He left the club in 2021 and has come back to the league to join us. We've also added David Rath to the club, who is now our head of coaching, innovation and game strategy. Now this one's really exciting. He was with Hawthorn during their premiership era, moved to St Kilda, has also worked with the Wallabies in the rugby, but now he joins us. That's a good get. And Ben Robbins, or Dr. Ben Robbins, he is now overseeing the players' mental health, psychology and well-being. He also came from St Kilda, spent time at North as well, so a few little changes to the team that we won't really see as outsiders that I thought we would just touch on in this video. But that's that. I guess it was an injury update, but it turned into more of a club update as a whole, but a bit going on behind the scenes that we don't really know too much about. It's the sort of stuff we won't be able to attribute to success, but if we were to have any sort of success, it could be a reason why. So a few players tracking well on the injury front, a few not so much. Some new coaches. Hope you liked the update. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new, and as always, go Bombers.